welcome back to another video. And Zach, today you look a little less official. Not working in the office today?
No, I'm full time from home now, Laura.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, anybody who doesn't know Zach yet, go back and watch other videos. He's a force to be reckoned with in the dental industry, and we're excited to see all the things that you have coming up. So follow him and all his social stuff, and you'll be able to see the latest Zach's going. But what we want to talk about today is actual office operations. That's why I'm bringing you onto
Yes.
this channel. So I'm just picking topics that I think are hot topics that kind of I was actually just filming earlier with Kirk, and we were talking about how I bridge the gap of the old school way now with you guys, the kind of newer ways we're teaching stuff, and then the future with technology. So our topic today that I want to talk about is handoffs. So I'm not even going to say what I think about handoffs at this point. I'm going to hand it off to you and let you kind of go on what is a handoff? How does an
Yeah.
office do it? What tips you have? And then we'll kind of dig deeper in there.
All right. I love it, Laura. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show again. I appreciate the kind words. And as you guys hear, Laura and I get more and more excited every time we talk. We're working on some cool things this year and this year coming up, and just trying to make a difference in dentistry. And that's kind of what handoffs do. I'm going to tell a quick story because I love stories. I love analogies. And if you know me, you'll start to see that I love to tell experiences and things like that. And one of them is my experience with the internet issues at my house. Now, we had internet issues in and out for quite some time. This was a couple years ago. And my wife and I finally had it. We're like, listen, we're paying for this service. It's not working. And they want it fixed. So I get on the phone, and long story short, I spent 8 hours on this phone call with this internet provider because I was stubborn and to prove a point that they weren't fixing my problem. Two, anytime I spoke to someone, I tell them what's going on, they transfer me to another department. I'd have to repeat myself every single time. After that situation, I was like, dang, how many times do our patients have to repeat themselves? Now, we often think of handoffs that the hygienist bringing the patient up front or the assistant's bringing the patient up front, but there's more than just that handoff of what we've completed on treatment, right, Laura? Like, we will go through the mix and say they've had their periodic exam, they've had their x-rays, they had fluoride today, and they have no treatment to schedule, or they have treatment plan one to schedule, yada, yada, yada. We give this information because we're passing along what happened to the front desk so that they can get them checked out properly, collect properly. But what we're not often talking about, which I think is so important, is the handoff, or some people like to call them transfers of trust. When we're talking to a patient, and let's say either hygiene or like a limited exam patient that's coming in, and they tell you the issues that they have going on, we need to, one, listen to that patient, but two, either write your daggum notes down or have a great memory and actively listen to this patient. Because if, Laura, you were in my chair and Laura, you told me you're having issues with number nine, it was sensitive, you think something's wrong, we had a filling done 3 months ago. When the doctor comes in, I'm going to verbalize all that so the patient doesn't have to. And what ends up happening is we are starting to build that trust because we're listening to what the patient is saying. We're transferring that over to the doctor. And the doctor says, hey, Laura, Zach's told me about that tooth. Is there anything else that's going on? And you're like, no, that's it. Okay, well, let's dive into it and dig it. Do you know what actually happens from that? Is we save so much time in the appointment because we don't have the shenanigans of going back and forth and having to repeat ourselves, figure out what's going on. A lot of times, my team will also do this. They can do it in the doctor's office before they actually bring them in and say, hey, doc, this is everything going on with this patient. This is what you need to address when you go in. And then the hygienist can say, hey, Laura, I've updated the doctor. He's going to come in real quick and he's going to go over everything that we discussed. And the doc says, hey, they were telling me about this sensitivity on number nine. It's hurting you. We did this filling 3 months ago. I think we actually need to go in and redo that filling. And I'm also going to refer you out for endo first. You're like, perfect. We've already figured out this whole situation because we're communicating effectively. A handoff cannot happen well if we don't communicate well.
Right, which it's actually interesting because I teach this at Front Office Rocks. I've been teaching this for years, and the way you explained it was great. But you made me think of something because that part of this channel that I want to do is talk about the way we've always done it, reintroduce again the importance of it, but then talk about the future, right?
Yeah.
So I envision a day with AI. With Mango, I'm all about like AI, where We
Hmm.
right now can now hear what happens on the phone call. And I
Yeah.
love the idea that one day our AI agent, Margot will be able to talk to the scribe agent for the doctor. So the doctor knows what they're walking into and we'll have all
Yeah.
the information for the patient. But you just brought up a really good point. With technology, we'll have the data, but it's still going to be the humans who are going to need to be able to communicate that information because it isn't just about from you to me, employee, but it's also the trust of the patient.
Yeah.
It's a sales thing for them to hear that they need something.
Yep.
I mean, that's interesting thought. Have you thought much about that? Like how we're gonna be able to, because back in the day, we would print rounding sheets, and now
Hmm.
we communicate to each other if we're a halfway decent team, but in the future, we're gonna be able to use technology to help in this area.
Yeah, I think the big part too is like you're talking about with Mango AI, dropping in those snippets from the phone calls. We already utilize this in the practice where the docs can look into the comm logs. Say we used Open Dental, so we're looking in the comm logs of Open Dental and saying, "Hey, I saw that you called last week. You're having trouble with this tooth. Like you can use that as a handoff also because you have the information. The technology's captured it, given us a good oversight and note, hitting all the main points." That really the doctor doesn't have to ask anybody any questions. Just look at that Comlog chair side and just verbatim say, "Hey, I saw that you called 2 weeks ago. We just got you in. You're on vacation. Anything else going on that you haven't already told me?" Because if we're hitting this on the forefront, one, the patients feel more valued, they feel heard, and it's just that fluidity that we're not actually having to rely so much on a team member translating that information. We're utilizing that technology as a translation service of like kind of that little train right through this whole experience that it's just making those stops where it needs to. So we can utilize the technology to reduce the amount of barriers, reduce the amount of stops and points. It's like that game of telephone. I play this with offices all the time where I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to tell you one thing and then you're going to go down, and by the time you get to the end it's a different message." So if you can reduce the amount of workflow and amount of people that it has to go through, then you're getting cleaner information. Because a lot of times these patients, they'll say one thing and it gets translated to the doctor another thing. The patient's like, "No, that's not what I said." But if we have it straight from
Right.
the mouth of the person saying, and be like, "Oh, well, this is what we have here in our notes here from your phone call. Oh,
Right.
well, I misword that." Then it's not so much calling the patient out, but just make sure we're getting good information. Like, "Oh, wow, they're actually really listening to what I'm saying," and being able to utilize that to get the patient what they need in a more efficient manner. We've done a really good job. Actually, Kirk and I were just recording podcast this morning and talked about, like in dentistry, we've made this bed for ourselves that's super messy with dirty sheets, and we complain about it, but we don't do anything to clean it up. And it's like
Right.
we've created all these barriers in between. And sometimes a handoff can be a barrier if you have too many steps in between of like, we have to go through all these things. Like it should be natural. It should be a way of like, "Hey, Laura, I'm so excited you're here. I'm glad you gave me all that information. Hey, doc, like I explained to you, number nine's bothering her." And sometimes when we reinforce and they hear us saying it to each other, they're like, "Dang, that's verbatim." And they actually brought up other things that could be a problem that I didn't even think about. So it also gets them like, "Dang, my dental team's amazing." And you know what that turns into is more patient referrals. And we start growing
Girls.
the practice. So building that trust factor and then utilizing the technology to reduce the amount of stops that we have to have, I think is going to be a big thing that we're going to see. I was actually just writing some predictions and trends for 2026. I was asked to write some stuff, and I'm thinking about things. And one of the big things is, we're going to see these practices soar next year that are utilizing AI tools for efficiency and productivity in the practice. Whereas, other dental practices, we might actually start feeling that hurt and that struggle next year. I honestly feel that AI is not taking over the world, but it is going to become this tool in our tool belt that it's going to be really hard to be as productive as these other teams if you're not utilizing these tools correctly. I don't know
Right.
if you agree
Right.
the same thing, but I strongly feel that we're getting to that next level, that it's going to really differentiate practices that are utilizing those efficiencies.
For sure. I think that one of the things that I teach when I'm speaking about it is that you might feel like you're behind the times because everyone's talking about AI and it's the new buzzword, but you're
Yeah.
not behind the times. We're early adopters, but
Yes.
getting technology into your systems and utilizing the technology is just going to make it easier and easier as the practice
Yeah.
grows, as it goes
Yeah.
forward. And patients are going to start to expect it. They already kind of are, like trying to
Hmm.
schedule payments online and be able to pay a bill and all of those things. It's just up to this point, technology's moved a lot slower. And
Hmm.
what we're talking about right now is we're talking months away, maybe a year away, where all the
Hmm.
AI can help us versus what would be 5 years in the past, right?
Correct. The big thing that we're seeing too is I speak on this a lot. I'm sure a lot of people do too. Is everything in our world in the last 24 months has evolved immensely as far as convenience. And we don't want to have a dental practice that is difficult to get things done, difficult to schedule, difficult to pay a bill, difficult to get on the phone. People will pass that up and find an easier avenue. We can get packages delivered to our door same day now, next day. I mean, you can go as far as you can set your laundry on your doorstep and someone will pick it up, clean your laundry, fold it, and bring it back to like there's laundry delivery services. I mean, there's everything that you can think of. It's out there for us as convenience. And that's what our world is driving into is here and now, hard and fast. But how can you build that into dental and healthcare that is effective and efficient, that doesn't dumb down or lower our level of patient care and service. So I think we will always have that team member aspect and effectiveness. It's just how do we utilize that technology to make it more streamlined for our patients?
Right, and one of the things and going back to handoffs that I think of in my brain when I talk about I don't think AI is gonna replace employees, but I think as an industry, we're gonna have more time than we had before by using AI, but our team members are gonna
Yes.
need to know, well, what do they do at that time? And the 2 things I talk
Hmm.
about are patient-facing things and then running our
Hmm.
systems, and when I think running our
Yes.
systems, I think handoffs because one of the things is we do a dump and run. It's like, "Hey, Zach, we're done with the patient today. If you can go ahead and get her
Yeah.
scheduled." I'm dumping her, and you're
Yeah.
not we're gonna have more time to do the right types of handoffs. So
Yeah.
leaning into
Yeah.
the human side of things, allowing the
Yeah.
technology to give us that time, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I think too, it's a big part of intentionality with handoffs and practices. Like you have to get your teams on the same page of what the expectations are for the handoffs. And when you're talking about getting that extra time with AI, when you do things right, like let's just take AI out of it and say we do handoffs right and we have our team all on the same page. We in turn just gain so much time because there's less questions asked, there's less mistakes made, there's less going back, pulling the claim back, fixing it, adding a procedure. Like there's so many things that you can avoid by just being on point with your team moving forward with handoffs. Like, you know that there's patients coming in the morning for emergency exams in the afternoon or early before lunch, where you have these conversations with the doc of like, this person's been in twice for this doc. We told them last time it's going to be an endo referral. Is this the direction that you're wanting to go with this patient before they ever go in? So then we get in to say, hey, docs actually already looked at your previous x ray. We're going to take another updated one. Just a heads up. He did mention most likely we're going to be sending you over to endo today, but let's get that x ray real quick. I'm going to have him review it. He'll come in and give you the final confirmation. And then
Right.
boom, you've already had these conversations and you've already had a pre handoff before the patient's ever gotten to practice. Now you actually do transfer over and then have them come in and confirm and move forward. And you're not diagnosing anything. You're reading the previous clinical notes. You know what's going on, but you have to know your patients. Like there's so many times like, well, I didn't know. I'm like, did you open the chart?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, did you look in their mouth? Like, come on. So it is that aspect of managers getting in there also and leading their team of expectations of
Well,
what's
I was gonna
needed.
say that. Exactly. It's, if we want this is a whole we could do this for an hour. We're gonna stay focused on handoffs here, but if
Yeah.
you want people who are gonna stay in your dental office and not leave for 25 cents down the road, they want a culture where they feel like they're playing a part in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And dental assistants don't wanna just suck spit. They want to be
Yeah.
part of the conversation with a patient and leaning
Yes.
in, and like you said, they're not diagnosing, they're just taking the ball down the line so the doctor can walk in and go,
Exactly.
I don't know if that was I was doing a football analogy, it turned into basketball, but yes,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, cool.
Love it.
So, we don't need to go into a lot of detail with handoffs. There's lots of you have a great group. There's lots of referrals on this. My question is, you mentioned your podcast. Tell us about your podcast. Tell everybody where they can come get more information from you, and we can guide them and help them if they need help with handoffs.
Absolutely. So, like Laura had mentioned, Kirk Teach Out, he's co-host of Dental Management Unfiltered. So we have Dental Unfiltered is the show, and then you will see our episodes filter under the Dental Unfiltered podcast show. So we have three different segments. So we cover all of dentistry on there, which is super exciting. Kirk and I just do the management portion. And then you can also find me through the Dental Office Manager Leadership Network on Facebook, where it's just an ongoing forum of anything and everything dental practice management. So come check it out and ask me questions. My phone number is on the website. You can find me in the group. You can find my email, everything you need, and we'll grow and build our practices together.
That's awesome. So if you're struggling with handoffs, if you want to bring your team on the same page, it's definitely something. I mean, AI can't fix this. This is something that you got a good leadership needs to do. So that's what we're bringing it here for you. We're going to keep going all around the practice, Zach and I, and just talking about all the aspects. So if you've got a question
Yep.
or a topic you want to talk about, go to his group, put it in our notes. And until next time, Zach, thanks for jumping on again.
Sounds good. See you, Laura.